lawsuit against Wisconsin and also Nevada. And in Wisconsin, he say the numbers are looking good now. They say they need a little more statutory information, but they should get some information soon. That was said by his attorney, Racent Priebus and Sean Duffy. In Nevada, we show that they're turning out that it's a cesspool of fake ballots, fake news, whatever you want to call it. They say at some point this will absolutely shock you when you start to hear about these different things that have been going on in the counting of the ballots. The media, once again, irresponsibly called the election before any certified numbers were out. This is not right. The media does not run this country, and they do not make the judgments that the court should be making, so they should not be calling the election. Joe Biden is not president. He is, they say he's projected, but I don't even see a projection. You got one of the corrupted states in the union, politically wise and voting especially. They've been challenged so many times. Even people have been put in jail for ballot falsification, illegal ballot counting, all kinds of things. You know what's interesting about this whole thing? We allowed Joe Biden to not receive any, repudiation over this fact, this corrupt thing with him and his son, with the Ukraine and with China, and we allowed this just to go past, like nothing's going on. And what happens? A corrupt state where he keeps saying he came from. I came from Scranton, Pennsylvania. Yeah, he came from a crooked state, a state that's known for ballot tampering and false ballots. He's known. So, what we see happening here is that this just continuing on. The corruption is turning. The media, the mainstream media, man, somebody needs to slap them. Why you support a corrupt candidate? President Trump has done nothing wrong, yet you blasted him off the map. You blasted him all over the place, saying he did something illegal, and we find out that the Democrats are behind most of the illegal activity in the electoral votes in this country. They always have been. Everybody complains about it's taking too long. Wait a minute. No, there is no president except President Donald J. Trump right now. So everybody's looking at these fake news media. They lied to you before. What makes you think they're telling the truth now? They're a bunch of lies. On Fox News, I'm ashamed to even watch Fox News, because now they're talking about, they got this number up here, Biden 279. And President Trump 240. Give me a break. Biden no way has that many votes to declare anything. It says here also the threshold identification of ballots
in the state of Pennsylvania, you are not allowed to do.
Okay. Oh, well, what happened? Are we still here? Still on? Okay. But anyway, so identification of ballots have turned out to be much bigger than anticipated. And a very large number of ballots will be impacted by this thing. Now, even in Michigan, if you heard the report, you just heard the report by Kelly McEnany and the head of the RNC, you heard that they had a lady in there that said that they were being told to backdate votes that came in after election day. They came in after midnight on election day. Didn't have dates on them. They say go ahead and backdate them to the second, so they can be counted. And how much you want to bet that they're not Biden votes? So we have a lot of people out here claiming Biden won. Biden has not won. Nope. Actually, most of the states have not even certified their numbers. So how can anybody win? The media has done this for years, projecting, but these are just projected winners, and they only projected by falsification. Wisconsin is looking good for President Trump, and I believe we're going to pull off Georgia as well. Nevada is turning out to be, of course, as I said earlier, a cesspool. There's all kinds of garbage going on in Nevada. Kelly McEnany, once again, I said, reiterated that we have 682,479 ballots that the Republican poll watchers were not allowed to witness being counted. This is in no way, in Pennsylvania, they need to do a recount. The Trump voters need to come back out to the polls and vote again. No mail-in, everybody. You want to vote, go to the polls and vote. But not this mess that they're trying right now. No mail-in votes. You can't get there by absentee. There's absentee votes. If they see ballots that are legal, great. They can count them. But some people, they're saying that are voting are dead, or they're dead, they're asleep, whatever they are. They're not even really. Some people are in the whole different states altogether, no longer living in that state. Yet they counted their votes. What did I tell you? And then how can you expect any of this to go right when you're using a system that's owned and operated by Nancy Pelosi's company out there in Nevada? The system is owned by one of her subsidiaries. She owns it. I told you the woman's filthy rich. She owns the darn thing, and that's a computer system. I'm telling you, you can't trust computers either. But if you're watching, if they can watch and see things that are actually being counted correctly, there's supposed to be 2 poll watchers, 1 Democrat, 1 Republican. And from what I'm hearing, from what I'm seeing, the Republican poll watchers were being left out, and the Democrats were being allowed to stay in. The reason why they're allowed to stay in because they know the fix is on. The fix is on. Just like they have fights, they say the fix is on. The fix is on. They told Joe Biden not to worry about it because they knew that they already had a fix. This thing is so crooked. It's crooked to high heaven. I said last night. It's so crooked. It's embarrassing. Then people in other countries are saying, man, what are they doing in America? It's very clear that this is a crooked election. You know, they talk about the pandemic being a natural disaster. And as they said in the news conference, that this election has become a national disaster. It's become a national disaster, especially I'm pretty much talking about the presidential election. Mitch McConnell recently in the Senate, he went to tell them, once again, we're talking about the fact that President Trump is well within his rights to question these results and to question these different states and to bring them to the table and possibly to the court, or maybe a recount or just do over the darn election in some of these states, because the states are so crooked. And they need to bring in some federal people to watch over them. So we need to do something about this. Now, Mitch McConnell he also mentioned there's some things that we're still a long way apart on these stimulus bill or whatever you want to call it. The stimulus package is still being disagreed with by the Democrat Party. But, I'm kind of excited. I'm hoping the Democrats, the parties, most of Congress is pretty much determined. Senate is in the control of the Republican. And we've gained I think 15 seats or so in the House of Representatives. But the good thing I'm excited about is the fact that Nancy Pelosi may well be unseated as the Speaker of the House because she may well not have enough votes. She's going out to these people that she disrespected and made judgments on their behalf and asked them, can she be Speaker again? I say no, she shouldn't be the Speaker again. Don't allow her to be Speaker. Put somebody else in there, Speaker of the House. Maybe a Republican. I don't know. Some of the races are still being decided, so who knows? It might be possible. We may still end up yet. The Supreme Court recently, was asked to, I think probably by the Democrats, to challenge the unlimited super PAC fundraising, and they declined to do that. We have another story here in the news today. This is pretty interesting, but I don't really it's an important story because I don't see it as an important story, but I'm going to share it with you anyway. The Supreme Court, I know, discussed the hearing of the case challenging unlimited super PACs. Okay, so they turned that away. But a British person in the government, his name is Lord. I can't even say name. Lord Kilcludy made a statement and a tweet just recently. He said about, and they called it her peers, but I don't see Kamala Harris as a peer to anybody because she is not a leader in this country. Not yet. She never really was, and I don't think she should be now. I think that people talk about, you hear that on a fake news media talk about, oh, she's going to be good for little girls. No, she's not. She's corrupt. She hates blacks. When she was in California, she sent black African American men to prison, just as well as Joe Biden. I'm telling you, man, we better do something because they're going to start it again, people. You know, everybody's talking about, oh, this is a racist nation. Well, look at Kamala Harris and former Vice President Joe Biden, and there you will find your racists. Now, they wanted to accuse Lord Clooney of being racist. So Lord Kilcooley defended his post is about Harris. He said he didn't even know what race she was. But he knew she was Indian, whatever, but he had never really seen her or even heard her name, as he reported to the BBC. He said, we're going to see the race, like I said, we're going to see the race card being played a lot here with the Democrats involved, even through this whole thing that we're seeing. British lawmakers condemn the comment as transparently racist. Now, if we're going to talk about transparently racist, we might as well talk about Joe Biden. He is transparently racist. I don't know what you think, but we got okay. Second. Okay, I'm sorry. Look like my charger came out. Oh man, sucks. I think we're back in. Hopefully you can bring me back. Hi, okay. Back again. Had some little technical difficulties there. Hopefully it can hold me out here. Anyway, so we see Kilcooley, he was persecuted for saying something about Kamala Harris. Give me a break. Anyway, in some other news, Christopher C. Miller, highly respected as director of the National Counterterrorism Center, has been unanimously confirmed by the Senate and will be the acting Secretary of Defense as President Trump retakes his office soon. I feel it, as far as the women and in office, vice president, and things like that. I really expected that the White House, or the political, even when President Trump was running in 2016, I actually had hoped that he would join with a female as a running mate. I actually was thinking about Sarah Palin back then. I hope we will see her again in the coming years. But I feel it's time for a woman to step into the office, although somewhere near the White House, if not the president, the vice president. And I feel Kamala Harris is not one who's ready for any office like that. Her tone is bad, and it just doesn't fit our country per se as well. The media, once again, as they try to have the last word on things, but the confirmation of the vote by the states and by the electorate is the thing that we need to hear about. Okay, so we see now that the challenges are being brought, and I want to share a thing. I can't remember, this gentleman, he was reporting from Britain. I believe it was from Britain. He was reporting from Britain, and he made a statement. I just wanted to share that statement with you here right now here on the CTM News Network. He was on Fox. He shared this, but what he said, no matter whether President Trump votes are counted and he wins, loses, makes no difference, because he's earned his place in history. He has actually changed the makeup of the Republican Party. He's changed the makeup of the Republican Party. We had a lot of women that were elected, and I believe we had some minority women who were elected to the House of Representatives. And things have changed quite a bit. And the Republican Party now is a party of African Americans, the Asians, the Latinos, and all those minorities that we speak about daily are now respected and honored by the Republican Party. And he has reconnected the Republican Party to the African American community, to the Latino community, to the Asian community, and pretty much to the whole community of the United States. He has brought people together. This is why I got so mad, because they kept trying to say, oh, President Trump is tearing the country apart. He's not tearing the country apart. He's trying his best to bring the country together and as well bring the world together. So we need to take time, and we need to pray, because we need to pray that President Trump will get confirmation on the votes in the state, and he will regain and be re-elected as the 45th president of the United States of America. And Joe Biden is not the 46th president, because there is no 46th president yet. So if you're looking at the media and you're looking at this foolishness that they're playing out there, it's all false, people. It's a game. They're playing a game. They already know that there's 5 states who haven't even been decided yet. They haven't even finished counting their votes. And a lot of states have not stepped out to confirm their votes. I don't know which way it's going to turn out, but I do know that we already see that there's a lot of irregularities in the voting in Pennsylvania, Nevada, Wisconsin. I believe is going to go for President Trump. They were actually supposed to go for him anyway. Of course, everybody shifted around. Can you put up those stats on Georgia once again? I want to see that I missed that. If you want to place that back up there for me again so I can see the stats and what they're saying about Georgia. So I can bring that across, if you don't mind. So as the producer works on bringing that up right now here on the screen about Georgia, I'm going to just say, we need to have confidence, continue to move forward, because we as the Republican Party and the Conservative Party, we have a lot to be thankful for under our president, President Donald J. Trump. Because one thing we have to understand too as well, we still have control of the Senate. We have control now, the conservative Supreme Court. We have almost taken control of the House of Representatives. We have enough votes there. If we pull a few Democrats on our side, we can get anything we want to go through on a conservative measure for the different things that we need to get passed in this country. So right now, if Biden does finally get the numbers or whatever, which I don't think he has it right now, I think what you're seeing on Fox News is a big lie, and a lot of these other networks. Did anybody ask why CNN, was it CNN or MSNBC, hasn't called? MSNBC hasn't called? I don't even think CNN has called. And if there's supposed to be conservative news, Fox News, they're the only fools that called the election. Talking about Joe Biden once. What are these numbers that they trumped up? I like to say that trumped up. President Trump is our president, and I hope and pray he remains our president, because I want to see this country go forward. I don't want to see in a stalemate under Joe Biden and Kamala Harris. It's a joke. It's like to me, it's like looking at 2 clowns. I mean, no disrespect. I'm sure they're the people, but when I look at Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I look at them like 2 clowns. She comes on, she's laughing all the time. There's nothing wrong with being cheerful, but to a certain point, it becomes foolishness when you're coming to the American people and you can't have a serious face and be serious about our country. Do we want some young woman, pretty much she's young, just in because she's a person of color? I really, to tell you the truth, I want a Latino vice president. That's what I wanted, but that's my choice. I had some people in mind even back when this whole thing was going on, but and back in 2016. But I think things will eventually get to that point. Not to say I have anything against African American vice president, but for some reason I felt as though when President Trump was running, I felt as though if he would have a Latina next one, I think we would have probably got a lot of accomplished as well. And I think he has people there in his cabinet as well that are doing a great job and carrying a lot of Latinas, Hispanic, Asians. He's got a lot of people in his cabinet that are doing a great job that are minorities. So I want to thank you this time for joining us here on the America Decides 2020. We're going to come back at you once again here on the CTM News Network tomorrow. I'm David Colbert, and I thank you for joining me, and keep your eye open. And remember, God loves you, and I want you to be blessed, and God bless America.